Hello friends. Anyone else have a little bit of tension in their shoulders or neck these days? I mean, generally just from the way we sit and we work and things. Colder weather's coming, we tend to get a little colder, right, when we go outside or we're in those elements. If you're nervous about walking on slippery surfaces, if there's so many different reasons, just stress in general, a lot of us hold here. So I thought I would reintroduce. There are other videos, but most of y'all are current with me and just do what I've mainly been putting up lately. So if you have tennis balls, they work great and they're really cheap. I have super fancy yoga therapy tune-up balls that I got online thousands of years ago. As long as it's not too crazy hard or too crazy soft. But tennis balls are, that's what I usually use in class. I just buy a bunch of them and have them for everybody. Click pause, get your ball, come back, hit play. We're gonna start kind of on that outer upper shoulder. If you kind of walk in with your non-working shoulder hand, right? We're gonna work with the shoulder, that's why I call it working shoulder. Move over until you kind of find the fleshy part, and then you're gonna bring the ball in. I let my feet come away from the wall just a little bit, and then I kind of lean my body back into it. Now, in general, for everything we're about to do, that's a self-regulation tool, so I just want to say that briefly. If I walk further away and I lean back more, there's more pressure. If I walk my feet in and come away from the pressure of the leaning, there's less pressure. So everything we do, you get to kind of determine, right? How much pressure goes in. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna start to kind of play with rolling around. My friends with long hair, put it up, pull it out of the way, right? If you got super loose clothing, not great, the ball's just gonna catch it and get rolled up in it and stuff. And then, you know, I don't have a prescription for this. You can kind of see how I started kind of in that upper place and then I'm kind of pivoting my body away from the wall a little bit, back to it. Another great way to play is, I'm calling this the working arm. You can pull that working arm away and hold it with the non-working arm, and it kind of opens up that muscular area as the shoulder blade gets pulled and held towards the outside of the body. And so, you know, you might find, oh yeah, those muscles, I can access those easier, etc. I'm not rolling on the spinal column itself, just towards the spinal column. If I bend my knees, I go higher towards the neck. If I straighten my legs, I'm a little lower. But right now we're going to focus on the upper shoulder, neck. We'll get to that lower stuff in a little bit. So, play. And if you get to the neck and you want to start to bend the knees and straighten the legs and roll on that neck, the back is the most accessible. You know, I got to move that shoulder kind of down and out and lean back into it to try to get the side of my neck. How do I know all of this? Yeah, I've taken a class or two, but really it's just playing and exploring. If it's available and not too tender, try to start to get up towards the base of the skull. Often a very tender place for many of us. And again, less pressure is just fine. You don't want the body to feel like it's got to seize up and protect you. Otherwise, we're kind of defeating the purpose, which I have done plenty of times. Okay. And let's take about 3 more breaths. Oh, my hair just got caught. And I just, you know, physically used my hand and moved my ball back down to that upper shoulder part. I want to get back in there again. So listen to your body. Knowing you got about 1 breath left, take that last little bit in that area of the upper back and neck, upper shoulder and neck. That feels right. And then we're going to drop it down. So, you know, depending on your flexibility with the arm, you could come behind the body to try to bring it up. You could try to drop it down a little bit. And then, you know, if you come away from the wall, it might roll down a little bit. Just kind of play with it. But now I'm going to try to get to that area. I call it mid-shoulder blade. All right, so there's the lower tip of my shoulder blade. There's the upper where we were just playing. So try to see if you can't get into that mid-shoulder blade area. Same arm. And again, I can just simply start to put pressure in it and stay still. Move the pressure slightly, ball, you know, and pause in areas. I can roll right to left. I can bend my knees and straighten my legs and roll up and down a circle. I really, really like pulling the working arm across and holding it. And as my shoulder blade comes around the side of my rib cage, I feel like I can access more of the muscular area. I don't know. be willing to experiment and explore. Your body is not my body. We'll take about 3 more breaths here. I'm trying to do less talking so you can just really sense your body. And then again, you might be able to walk away or, like come forward a little bit and roll it down. That never works for me. So I bring my hand back there just to kind of catch it a little bit as it comes down towards the bottom tip of the shoulder blade, somewhere around there, right? And it's not far out on the outside of my body. It's between my shoulder blade and my spine. You can leave the arm down. You can bring it across. You can strip the muscle, right? You're going against the grain, so to speak, right to left. You can roll with the tissue fibers, up and down. You can roll through a circle. You can go, turn towards the wall, and I bet you get into that area, more around the side of the ribs. So just move around. Two more breaths. And then go ahead and grab the ball, or if it falls to the ground, that's okay. And just stand in Tadasana for a moment. So come away from the wall, right? And just stand up nice and tall and be curious if the working side feels differently than the non-working side. And then we're going to the other side. I'm going to switch the camera, and I'm sorry friends, I'm not a super polished person. I don't feel like stopping it, starting it again, and doing all the things I probably could do. So we're just going to do it this way. That way I'm not completely faced away from you. So new working arm. We're going to put it in just a little bit in on that fleshy part of the upper shoulder. For this one particularly, I like my feet further forward, not for the pressure factor, but so I can try to get into some of that tissue more towards the top of my shoulder, right? And all the same things are true here. So try to find what seems like the most beneficial for this side, this area. It's funny, I haven't rolled out in a bit, and my chiropractor adjustments do help me, but of course they're not able to help some of the muscular stuff. And so I'm like, come on, I gotta get back on the track. And so this morning I rolled my shoulders out for the first time, and holy cow, did I not realize how crazy tight they are until I had that pressure, that feedback mechanism telling me. So I'm trying to vow to do this every day, at least for a couple of minutes. Go ahead and start to roll out the neck, right? If you need to move the ball with your hand, no worries, that's fine. My hair doesn't quite fit in a ponytail yet, but man, it's long enough to get in the way of this stuff. And again, if I turn towards the wall, I can start to maybe get into a little bit of the side, I'm going to call it tissue, side neck tissue. I personally really love, there's some really good pressure points at the base of the skull, the occiput, so I like to make sure I put a little couple of moments into rolling up to, through, or even just holding and moving my head. Okay, let's go ahead and move that to the mid shoulder blade area somehow. Right, just figure out a way to get it there. Play. And everything I said on the other side is true here. There are all those different ways to just kind of move around and manipulate, in the sense of, right, just trying to get into those areas that might have some extra tension in them. This side is incredibly knotty. Take another breath. And let's lower down to that lower shoulder blade tip area. I mean, you can keep going with this. If you're enjoying the heck out of this, when the video ends in just a little bit, keep going. If you have 2 tennis balls, you can tie them in a sock and have them side by side. Put them on either side of your spinal column and roll up and down. One of my favorites. I did that this morning too. Pardon me. Go ahead and take another breath, maybe 2. And finish whatever it is that you're working on there. And then again, if you can get a hold of that ball, or just don't worry about it if it drops and rolls around, and then pause for a moment and stand in Tadasana and notice what you notice. And may we remember the feeling we have right now of hopefully just having a little more release, I'm going to call it, than when we started the rolling out. And may we remember that and try to call upon that throughout the day as we get cold or get stressed out or whatever your personal things might be. Namaste, friends. Thank you for joining me.